If you're a founder in the Web3 or crypto space and you're trying to figure out should you hire a marketing agency, should you hire in-house, then this video is for you. So traditionally in crypto, a lot of teams, what they've done is they've outsourced their whole marketing to an agency. Now, this leads to some really bad long-term problems. I think having strong in-house capabilities is a must if you are a project in the space that's serious about lasting a long time, about building a real business. While short-term an agency has its uses and agencies are obviously great for scale, you should really try to build in-house infrastructure and in-house team and in-house knowledge as well. And quite frankly, people connect better with people, not brands. And that's why it's so important to have founders or senior team members who are really loud, who are really active on socials, and who people can connect with. But I also don't think it's a wise idea to just rely on an in-house hire if you have a TGE coming up, if you have a big campaign coming up, because the amount of work is insane and there's like a million different channels in crypto. And quite honestly, one person can't just fill that role. And even if you have a team, the thing is, for a lot of these campaigns, you might need a really heavy workload for a couple months and then it winds down. So you don't want to just hire somebody for 2 months and then let them go. In terms of scope, for example, managing influencers can be a massive headache and a huge amount of work. Partnerships, collab management, social fi initiatives, fundraising from the community, TikTok, X marketing, whatever it may be, there's a million different things here and they're just all a ton of work. As someone who's been involved in some big marketing launches like Aether, I can definitely tell you that you really do need all hands on deck. And often this has to be far more than just your in-house team members. The main value an agency brings is speed. And that's something that a lot of founders really need to understand is if you hire somebody, they can't just get up to speed within days. It usually takes an in-house hire a long time to just get to speed, while agencies, they're just used to going fast. So here's a few ways that external agencies can fill in that team members can't. First is that ability to scale up marketing very, very quickly with multiple team members that can jump on immediately. And they're used to just getting into a project and figuring it out very, very quickly. The second is that an agency that has been around for a while has deep connections in the industry that you probably won't get with most in-house hires. The third is battle-tested infrastructure for scaling influencer campaigns or any sort of marketing. There's a lot of in-house systems that an agency keeps over time. Another big one is an agency or group that is involved with multiple projects has a much better understanding of what's working now, how other founders are thinking about positioning, what the changing metas are, and they have a better idea of where the industry is moving than somebody who's only working inside one company and doesn't have a broad exposure. Also, for many teams, you have both B2B as well as B2C parts of the business. For example, if you're launching a token, that's a product of its own, that's a B2C product in many ways, that's completely different than B2B marketing to other protocols. And if you have incredible in-house people for B2B marketing, those same people are going to struggle with B2C. And I've seen this quite a bit, like in terms of teams that have really started off strong, but they've dropped the ball. I've seen that somebody who's just extremely good at professional B2B marketing and selling into larger enterprises often is the worst at B2C style consumer marketing and understanding what crypto Twitter is looking for, what crypto retail, crypto TikTok is looking for, what liquid funds are looking for. That's a completely different world. And this is also where an agency can step in because, for example, with Crescendo, we have so many people with completely different skill sets and different backgrounds. So we have the best of everything, and then we're able to step in for that specific need at that specific time. Now, let's talk about the ways that in-house team members are essential. First is, I do think it's really important to have founders as well as senior team members having a strong voice with retail audiences especially. So I think people connect with people, whether you're selling B2B or B2C. So even if your founding team is a little bit quieter, if you have a senior team member like a head CMO who's just very, very loud and is very active on socials, that's incredibly valuable. And having them associated with your brand, having them be that brand ambassador in a way, and having kind of like that in-house aspect of it is really important because obviously if you hire an agency, they can leave, the contract runs out, etc. So it is important to have that in-house basically voice that connects with people versus just having a brand itself. The second is because they're in-house, they're able to go very, very deep into the business. So this gives them unique insights that perhaps an agency won't be able to get. Somebody who spends 40 hours a week just thinking about one specific problem is going to have very unique unique insights. And this is where I think having an in-house team member is extremely important, because when you have that person who thinks about your business all day, when you partner them up with an agency that has more breadth and more of an understanding of the industry, that's when you can have magic really happen. The third is that in-house person can really get to know your community, build relationships with them, talk to them day in and out in Discord, and really understand their pain points and how they work. And the fourth one is somebody who's in-house, you're probably going to have them for longer periods of time. You're probably going to have incentivized structures to keep them for years or longer. So it does make sense to have that strong in-house CMO or growth lead to really lead marketing. Now, in an ideal world, the way you pair an agency and your in-house lead is to have them work together. And the in-house lead removes obstacles, sets a lot of context, and really helps the agency supercharge what they're doing. I do want to say there are some major issues with the traditional agency model in crypto and Web3. What many agencies do is they make you rely on their services without really instilling any self-sufficiency. So what happens is, as long as you're paying the agency retainer, you're fine. But as soon as the contract runs out, or let's say you decide that, hey, want to move in-house, now you're basically left having to start over from scratch. And then what's the worst is you have some teams, they have no marketing capabilities. And what they'll do is when they have a campaign, they'll hire an agency and then they'll stop doing marketing for 6 months. Their community gets frustrated, their token tanks, and you need consistent long-term, basically marketing beats. You can't just rely on an agency for activation and then go quiet. And often the work that these agencies do, it's not very transparent. So it's hard to really replicate that when you decide to go in-house. So that's why at Crescendo, we've really abandoned this traditional agency model. We're more of a growth partner where we're more focused on making our teams succeed long-term and aligning our incentives in that manner as well. We only work with long-term clients. We often help them build in-house teams. So for many of our clients, we've hired their growth leads or their marketing leads, their community managers. It's a very common thing that we do, which is in many cases, it's not even part of our structure, but we'll go and find somebody who's just an incredible fit to lead in-house marketing, because it helps us do our job better. It also makes sure our partner can actually succeed long-term without having to just rely on us constantly. And a big part of that is we reduce our upfront fees and focus more on upside-based compensation. What that means is we're aligned more long-term. We're really looking out for you beyond just the period that we're engaged. The goal is to essentially be an extension of your team. We feel more like an in-house agency hybrid rather than being a completely external partner. So we're usually a lot more integrated than many other teams. So a great example is we've helped Beamable hire their head of community, Drew, who's absolutely killer. And we've done this with many of our other partners. So to summarize, there's no clear answer. It's not an either or. You shouldn't just rely on external partners for your marketing. You should build self-sufficiency. However, at the same time, what I've realized is a lot of founders, they're not really the best at hiring marketing leads. I've seen this happen over and over, where you'll go out, spend 3 to 4 months interviewing marketing team members, and then you hire somebody, they don't work out, there's another 3 months spent, and basically you're 6 months behind where you should be. If you do bring in a growth partner like Crescendo, what we're able to do is we're able to get your marketing kick-started. We're able to get it moving. At the same time, we're able to find you that marketing lead. So long-term, you also have that self-sufficiency. So our whole goal is to come in and provide scale, speed, and reach, and then also structure everything so that you're self-sufficient long-term, starting with having that core hire for your marketing team. That's why we've shifted to a growth partner model, where really our goal is to come in almost as a BD and marketing co-founder for a temporary period of time, help set up the structures, help set up the team members, set up incentives and alignment long-term, and reduce our upfront cash commitment. So we're not like a traditional agency where really they don't really care about the long-term success of the project, because oftentimes they're just incentivized for that 3-month period that you're just paying them a cash retainer. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this gave you some insights on the pros and cons of hiring in-house versus hiring an agency, what can go wrong with both models. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe. If you're a founder building the space, you want some ideas on marketing, you want to get some feedback, feel free to reach out to me as well. I'll have my X below, so you can go and shoot me a DM there as well. And I'll see you in the next video.